Well, hello everybody, and welcome to datacenterHawk EMEA podcast. Today we are looking at one of the emerging markets in the European region, Madrid. I am David Sandars. I'm the Regional Director for datacenterHawk in EMEA, and today I'm joined by my colleague, Luis Bravo, who is actually in Madrid.
Hi everyone. It's good to see you, and thank you for seeing this podcast.
So Luis, as a datacenterHawk Senior Analyst in Madrid, perhaps you'd like to start by explaining to people watching the podcast here from further afield where Madrid is, why it's important, and a little bit of background on the city itself.
Yeah, of course, David. So Madrid is located in the central part of Spain, and it's worth to mention that it, of course, is the capital of this country. It has a 7 million people population, and while in the center of the city we have 3 million, the whole community of Madrid is 7 million. Is one of the most visited places by tourism in the whole world, with one of the most important airports in Europe, with connectivity to, of course, to Asia, to the Americas, and to Africa. So it's a very good hub to be in. And well, that's for the city itself. For data centers, we can say several things. Spain itself is in a strategic location and can be as a gateway between Europe, Latin America, the North America region as well, and Africa, because the subsea cables that land within Portugal serve as a gateway between Portugal and the rest of Europe. Spain is in the middle, so the cables or the fiber, the dark fiber, go through all the country and passes through Madrid, then to Zaragoza, and then after to France and the whole Europe, right? Also, Spain and Madrid itself is very good for data center development because it has government support. The Spanish Data Center Association has done a very good job by promoting the data centers and doing this leverage between the government and the private sector. And it's worth to mention as well that at datacenterHawk we are partners with the Spanish Data Center Association, and we are engaging with and attending to all of their events. So it's very good to be in there, and we would like to thank the association for that opportunity of being partners. And well, the association is doing a very good job on that end, and the government is giving tax incentives in several regions, not only Madrid, but in Zaragoza region, where the hyperscalers like AWS, Microsoft, and other big companies like QTS with Blackstone and among others are doing heavy investments in the region. And also worth to mention the lower energy costs, and this is because of the surplus of renewable energy. So it's a quite good region to be in, and it's a very investment friendly to the private sector, to international investors that would like to invest in Europe. Spain is a very good country to do it. David.
Excellent. Thank you for that introductory overview, Luis. Maybe you could drill down a bit more into the detail of the data center landscape, in particular in Madrid. Who are the most established operators, and what does the marketplace look like in terms of number of co-location vendors in Madrid?
Yeah. I would say I would rather focus, instead of the number of colocation vendors, I would like to say or focus on the amount of megawatts that the region is now in under capacity. We have 250 megawatts around in Madrid region. It's worth to mention as well that Madrid is the biggest market in Spain on the Iberian Peninsula, and with more granularity, the biggest players in this market would be Data4 and Naviax, Digital Realty. We have Equinix, we have NTT, Iron Mountain, Global Switch, Atlas Edge, Edge Energy, Espacio Rack. Of course, we're seeing hyperscaler activity. Microsoft is going to develop their availability zones here. So it's very interesting what's going on in the Madrid region currently. Those operators, not Microsoft yet, but those operators that I've mentioned are already established. They already have data centers in the region. If we mention some of the developments that have been announced and the companies that we have spoken to that have confirmed directly to us that are now planning and developing data centers, we would mention Damac EdgeNex with a 40 megawatt development in Vicálvaro. It's a region here in Madrid, and Quetta are developing 10 megawatts in North Spain, and there's a big development also underway called Digital Valley, and that development could be up to 600 megawatts. So it's quite interesting that the region will quadruple or even more its capacity in 5 years from now. So it's going to be fascinating to see the developments and how this region evolves during time.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it'd be very interesting to see where we are in 5 years in terms of how much capacity there is in and around the Spain, the Madrid metropolitan area. It sounds to me that the Madrid marketplace is kind of reflecting a lot of other markets and other key data center territories in Europe, in that there's a lot of planned capacity. And quite a bit of commission capacity. But what about readily available capacity for customers to move into in the immediate term?
So in the immediate term, you can have a hard time for finding space and power within the current data centers or the current developments that are live right now. The vacancy rate in Madrid would be lower than 10% right now. So maybe you can get some megawatts in a site, but let's say if you want 20 or 30 megawatts right away, you won't get it, of course. You will probably have to wait a few years so that you can get that amount of power. Certainly, there are operators that can offer 1 or 2 or even 3 megawatts at the as an immediate offer, but no more than that. I think that the operators are preparing themselves to get that demand. That of course there is that demand, but still right now there's not an immediate data center that can offer you big loads of power. But if you want to get maybe a few megawatts, you can get them. It's going to be fascinating to see developments of 100 or 200 megawatts in this region for only one customer, and I think that's what's going to happen in the future, but we will have to wait a bit more for that.
Okay, so not a great deal of available capacity, which mirrors quite a few other markets in Europe, and clearly shows us that demand for data center capacity has been high in recent times. but possibly the demand is outstripping supply right at
Yes.
this moment. And when future capacity comes online, it could well be leased very quickly, or perhaps prior to the capacity being commissioned and being available, it'd be pre-leased.
Yes, that's correct, David. I think that again the companies are preparing themselves for the future, and the demand is there, while the supply is relatively low of what the demand can bring into this region. So it's going to be fascinating how the data centers are preparing themselves for the future.
Absolutely, we will be watching on eagerly. And you mentioned Microsoft earlier on. What
Yes.
is the position with some of the other hyperscale and cloud providers in Spain?
Yeah, sure. So we have several hyperscalers here in Spain. For the self-built, I would say Microsoft and AWS are present in this market, specifically in Zaragoza. And not only them, but also in Zaragoza, you have QTS with Blackstone building a 500 megawatt data center capacity there. Also, Repsol has announced a certain amount of important energy development or megawatts development there with 400 megawatts as well in the region. And what is fascinating about Aragon or Zaragoza, which is the autonomous community where Zaragoza is located, is that the dark fiber that goes from Portugal to Europe, to the rest of Europe, passes through Zaragoza. And Zaragoza again has a surplus of renewable energy, and this is why the hyperscalers are booming there. Also, tax incentives are quite high in the autonomous community, and the region is just developing in a great way. So it's going to be fascinating again to see the hyperscalers growing. Now, if we talk about the not the self-built, but the co-located hyperscalers in Spain, overall, you have Meta, you have Oracle. So you basically you have all the hyperscalers, the U.S. hyperscalers, present in the region.
So interestingly, a very good penetration into the market of all the hyperscalers, as you mentioned, but perhaps locating a little bit further away from the capital city.
Yeah, they're located a bit far away from the capital city, but again, I think that what the hyperscalers are looking now is power, and it's all about power, right?
Yeah.
So they don't care to be a bit away from Madrid or Barcelona, which are the main cities of Spain, while they have available power and a community that makes things easier. And if you have a government that makes life easier to investment, the investment will come more easily. And again, if the community has this surplus of renewable power, the companies are willing to move to places like Zaragoza. We have seen also not only in Zaragoza, but we have seen also several announcements within other regions that are far away from the capital city, Madrid. For example, we've seen in Extremadura region, which is a region that is in the border with Portugal. Two very big developments from Edged Energy announcements. There are not developments yet, but there are announcements. 1 gigawatt data center in Cáceres and another gigawatt data center in Badajoz. So 2 gigawatts of plant development from Edge Energy in Extremadura, which is 250 or 300 kilometers away from Madrid. And this shows what I was mentioning in the past between of Zaragoza, right? It doesn't matter that you are not in the capital city or in a big city. While you have a government that supports the foreign investment, while you have a government that makes life easier to companies, and if you have a surplus of renewable energy, companies will come to develop and to invest.
So, Luis, you've mentioned renewable energy a number of times in your explanation or overview of both the Madrid and the Spanish data center market. What's the energy mix look like? What kind of renewables are available to data center operators in that country?
Yeah, so since we're in southern Europe, you can see a lot of sun down here, and there are quite a lot of solar energy farms. In fact, a company called Solaria is looking to develop several megawatts within the whole Spain, a 200 megawatts data center in the community of Castile, also a couple of data centers in Madrid and also one in the north, so or north of Spain. So this company that has a lot of solar farms is committed to the data centers as well. And not only this solar farm, we've seen several energy companies that are looking to invest in this space. If we talk about Iberdrola is planning to do a joint venture with a foreign data center company to build data centers within Spain and other regions, but mainly in Spain. Also, a company called Ingenostrum is or has announced plans to develop a data center in north of Spain, in Galicia, called Green Data Center. It's around 15 megawatts, and also in the region of Extremadura, where we mentioned earlier, Edge Energy is developing. Well, Ingenostrum is also entering to this market. So it's fascinating that energy companies are trying to play in the data center space, and let's see how many of them are actually going to build the data centers. But I think they have a very good opportunity to be a big player in the region.
Yeah, really interesting that companies from outside the data center sector, the energy sector in particular, looking to move into the data center industry and across other regions in Europe and further afield as well. We know that data center operators are looking to try and locate data centers quite close to where the energy is generated. So it's a kind of natural extension of the supply line, if you like, for energy companies to try and look at to get into the data center sector. And
Yeah.
it seems to me that the data center market in Spain is really active. There's a lot of business and activity in the whole region. I think in summary, it sounds like traditionally the market started in the Madrid area. That's where the biggest density of data center operators are, and the most capacity is right now. But it also seems that there are lots of new locations emerging around Spain, and for a number of different reasons, available energy, incentives from the government, international fibre networks, that sort of thing, that are making other areas in the country very attractive to data centre developers.
Yeah, that's correct, David. If I had to mention a few, I would say, of course, well, Zaragoza that we have already spoken about. Also, Extremadura. We already spoke about Extremadura, but there are a couple of developments that we haven't discussed, which are the Meta site in Talavera de la Reina, which is in Castile. It's just a few kilometers away from Madrid, but at the end it's not in Madrid. Also, Substrate AI are developing a data center within that region that I just mentioned. And I would like to focus now in the north of Spain, which you already have a live data center from Edge Energy in close to Bilbao. And their plans, I think they are planning to have more than 160 megawatts over there, only in that data center. And recently we have heard an announcement from XDC Properties to build a massive facility of 500 megawatts in Cantabria, close to Santander. So not only Madrid, Zaragoza, and Barcelona are the main players now. We have new regions, new market entrants. So it's going to be fascinating how they get the demand of energy, of data centers.
Absolutely. So, Luis, I'm going to wrap it up there and say thank you very much indeed for that really detailed overview of not just the Madrid market, which is already well populated with data centers and well commissioned, but has plenty of additional planned capacity in that region and that marketplace. But also the industry seems to be spilling out in Spain to other key locations as well. And like we said earlier in the talk, in the podcast, it's going to be really interesting to map that market expansion and how it develops over the next 3 to 5 years. Interesting times ahead for not just Madrid, but for the whole of Spain. Luis, thanks very much indeed for joining me this afternoon and for giving us that oversight of the Madrid and the Spain market.
No,
thanks
thank
everybody
you.
for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. You can always contact us via datacenterHawk.com if you'd like any more detailed information.